Hello everybody and welcome back to another Triple Crown Wargaming video with me, the Oracle, and the Almanaks are back. We are talking about the Orcs and Goblins Tribes Arcane Journal Almanac that has just been released today, and they are saying that there are going to be more to follow, which is quite interesting. But today we're going to chop into this Almanac and what we've been shown so far. So obviously it's about Orcs and Goblins, as you'd expect, but there has been some interesting things that they've shown off in the article. Now, they talk about the fact that what we are going to get is 2 new special characters, which is quite interesting, but they've not told us who or what they are as of yet, but they're showing those off, which is quite cool. The new magic items, the narrative scenario, a new magic lore focus on the sorcerous abilities of the troll hags who conjure up swamp magic. Now, that's quite interesting as well, that we're getting our first new Law of Magic. I'm going to assume that it's only going to be takeable in the Arcane Journal list, the Troll Horde list from what I can see, and I will say it does seem like it could be quite good, that. But obviously let's get into it. So there's going to be 2 armies of infamy in the book. Now initially there is the Nomadic War, which is a tried and tested classic, an all-mounted tribe of Orcs and Goblins on the warpath. But something that they've said is they quote very new is the Troll Horde, which they seem to quite like. It does seem that they've named one of the special characters called Ogdra's Swamp Digger, quote, an Orc shaman who thinks he's a troll, or at least the trolls believe that he is a troll. So that's quite interesting. So it looks like we're just going to wonder whether we're going to get a new model for that entirely, whether that's going to be one of the new models that they've shown off already, or whether that's just going to be, you know, make your own shaman. It'll be quite interesting. But that's cool nonetheless. Now, they've said that the army, the Troll Horde, isn't just purely a troll army, which I think is a shame. But I do think that what we will see actually is probably potentially more just trolls in that list. But I think it would be very cool to see an entirely troll list, especially as they did also show off, replying to their own article, that one of the special army-wide rules for the Troll Horde is something called Enhanced Regeneration, which is any model with Regeneration X special or within the Troll Horde army may reroll any failed regeneration saves against wounds caused by non-magical attacks. Now that seems very good, and I think having that would suggest that what we are going to see is a lot more trolls or things with regeneration. Things obviously, because the Seed of Rebirth, I believe it's Seed of Rebirth, what it used to be called, could be wrong. The core magic item that gives you regen, because that is extremely common and can be taken lots. I think you're likely to see that on all of your characters in that army, because why not? You would reroll all your regens. But that does seem very strong in my opinion. Now they're starting off talking, next they're talking about the Nomadic War itself. Now obviously we've gone through the fact that the Troll Horde looks like it's going to be primarily trolls, but they've also spoke about the fact that the Nomadic War relies on a lot of Goblin Wolf Riders. Let's take them in close order to rank them up, which is quite cool. Or you can use them as fast aggravating missile troops. If you choose to tool them up with short bows, they gain feigned flight and reserve. Short bows, feigned flight and reserve move. Sorry, they are amongst the best light cavalry in the game. So that would be quite interesting as to what they mean by that and how that's going to interact and work. But does seem potentially quite good. Now they go on to talk a little bit about troll magic. But in reality, they're just talking about the fact that, you know, even though it's trolls, they can still cast magic. It's not just for the more enlightened, as they say. But they're basically saying that the troll hag compares basically to an Empire wizard. So that would be quite interesting. As a side note, I think it's very cool to see the troll hag come back, because obviously she came out right in the dying depths of 8th edition. She was an experimental rules model rather than an official in a publication, so you didn't see her very often. Really nice model, so really pleased to see that she's going to be coming back, which yeah, I think is really cool. But talking about that as well, they've also mentioned that on the I know we're probably going to have another video about this at some point, but when they're talking about the made to order and the pre-orders for Orcs and Goblins, they've specifically allowed you to pre-order the Bone Grinder Giant. Now that Bone Grinder Giant is apparently, according to the article, going to be in the Arcane Journal. So that's quite cool to see another returning full draw model, especially one that's as awesome as the Bone Grinder Giant. So it'll be interesting to see how he stacks up, because obviously in 8th he was in Storm of Chaos, and he was also he might have been in the Monstrous Arcanum, if I remember correctly, and he was obviously very, very tough. So it's going to be interesting to see how they interact in this game, because we don't really see much of anything above about toughness 7 in this. So it's going to be cool to see how he works out, especially with now the fact that certain strength can't wound everything. So if he's a very high toughness, that could be quite tough for people to get through. But yeah, certainly something to keep an eye out for, I'd suggest. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on pre-order in the coming times, so that's going to be cool. But they then go on to talk a little more about Ogdra's Swamp Digger. He's just an Orc Shaman, but just talking about the fact that he was a bit of a runt and was taken in by the trolls, given Troll Brew, which I'm not really sure what that is. I'm not really sure I want to know what that is, but either way, he's given it. He gets nice and big and tough, and he's then included in that army. So it's cool to see that we are getting some more special characters, and I'm looking forward to how that's going to go. Now, in reality, the Almanak, it doesn't flesh out too much for us, which is a shame. It's only going through the odd piece, bit and piece. But either way, it's very interesting to see what we're going to get. Now, they talk about the fact that at the end of the article that there's a caveat that there's also going to be a meta order coming out to bring back the classic Stone and River Trolls. Now they've mentioned they're going to talk about more later in the week, but I'm actually a massive fan of the classic Stone Trolls. The classic River Trolls wasn't necessarily for me. I wasn't the biggest fan of those, but the Stone Trolls, I actually really like the Stone Trolls, the classic like blue ones with their big weapons and the big the big rock and stuff like that. They're really cool. But it's cool to see that we are getting like a massive return to Orcs and Goblins, and we're getting a massive amount of stuff come back on the pre-order, which I think really is what a lot of people want to see. Hopefully we get stuff rolled out a bit further on. Now obviously there's talk about what's next in the article, but they've said that the old world is definitely here to stay. They've got a wonderful time period to explore, but obviously with the fact that there's the 9 core factions, it's a lot of models to bring back, a lot of things to be retooled from resin to metal, or from metal or resin to Forge World resin, things like that. So I do think we are going to have to accept that the time frame on this is going to be slower than we want. But I will say Orcs and Goblins is quicker than I expected. If it's a 2-week pre-order period like we've had for all of the old world so far, we're going to be looking at around, let me get my counting fingers out, we're going to be looking at around the 6th of April for a release, so the first weekend in April. So we're looking at a cycle of about 8-10 weeks between releases. 8 or 10 weeks between releases, so that's not bad. It's not. I was expecting it to be more, if I'm honest, so that's quite cool. It gives me hope as to what is next in terms of what faction is next. Got absolutely no idea. I mean, we've got Adepticon coming up. Could potentially see they've spoke about the fact that they're going to be showing off things for the old world at certainly the old world banner is on the release schedule for Adepticon, so I think we're going to see some reveals. Hopefully that's going to be what the next faction is. I think it's going to be dwarves myself, but we'll have to see on that. Could be wrong, but I think orcs and dwarves makes sense. We've had Brett's Tomb Kings, orcs, goblins, and dwarves. Makes sense to me that you have that opposite faction. You have baddie goody, that kind of thing. So I could see it being dwarves, but I suppose we don't know. They could just show off a model. They could show off a new special character for the orcs and goblins. We don't know yet, but that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to watching that. It's a shame that it's at 3 AM for us, but if we don't suffer for our craft, then what are we doing? But I'm looking forward to that, to be completely honest. Obviously they've spoke about, again, getting back to the article, they've given us a nice little teaser. Said things like, for example, we aim to do this forever. and we have planned books for the next redacted years. Very frustrating, but I'd love to know what their plan for those years are, and the fact that they said that we have all of these miniatures planned and clear ideas of what we're working towards, but they've just got to get there, which makes sense. We're reintroducing the world and the setting over the course of 9 Arcane journals. Once that's done, who knows? That's a very ominous phrase, but also again a buzzword for these almanacs. Very interesting. But no, it's really cool. I think it's good to see that at least they're continuing talking about the support. We're seeing these articles, we're seeing these things getting pumped out. We're not just getting releases where they're saying, here's all your stuff back, please buy our game. It feels like there's a bit of love in there. It feels like there's a bit of respect for what we've got, and it feels like the Game Workshop want this to succeed and they want this to work. So I'm quite hopeful for the future of the old world. It's going to be cool to see what we're getting, and I'm certainly looking forward to getting into some more, getting into some events, seeing how some things come up and all things like that. But for now, they've said that we're going to be getting another Arcane Journal soon, talking about the differences between Impetuous and Animosity, and quotes how Orcs are looking at how Orcs are intended to play. So that'll be very interesting. But for now, that's all for today and all for my almanac. So with that, thank you for listening. If you did like the content, please like, subscribe, share. Please head over to triplegamewargaming.com where you can subscribe. Head over to the Knights of the Realm Mustering Ground where you can find all our other content. Head over to our Discord if you've not seen it, and if you are in it and you're a member, then please put your thoughts on this into the Discord, or in fact comment below and please let me know if you think I'm on the money or if you think I'm absolutely wrong. But for now, thank you very much for listening, guys, and I will see you next time.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?